what I'd say is because most of the time it's done badly. You know, it's bad content. Right. And the thing about inbound marketing, the thing that kind of makes it great in my eyes is when it's done well, you, even as a content marketer, I will click through and every now and then read a blog post which has value that I need. Then there'll be a pop-up and there'll be a download, an ebook, and I know why they're doing it, but it has something of more value that I need at that point. So I'll exchange my name and email address. They'll follow up with emails. I might not open all of them, but some of them, you know, kind of ring true to what I need at that time, and they're providing more value. And then suddenly there's something that, and so it's value driven. So it shouldn't, people become, you know, more immune to pop-up ads that are just in their face and that they can, you know, delete. It's offering value. So if you do it right, it should work. And I think a key point is differentiation. And one of the key things that we try to bring to a strategy is how are you going to differentiate? Yeah. There's all your competitors out there. They're all thought leaders. What can we do? And I think one of it is by trying to mix up the game. And you know, we've got a client now. Aaron Estates, that are a big estate agency chain in the south of England, and we're doing content marketing through the letterbox because there's lots of you know, online blog posts about how to get your first mortgage and all of that, but still people are getting these letters through their door that are old school sales estate agency cringe-worthy letters. So what we're doing is we're sending them valuable, essentially blog posts through the letterbox and these kind of storytelling tales, these drink, but little stories that are kind of cute and so we've mixed it up, we've changed it, we've differentiated by essentially doing content marketing through the letterbox, and then rather than saying call us at the end, the call to action is now download this ebook or try this thing out online. So we're trying to take them from offline to online. So you just need to think, I know it's a cliche, think outside the box, but how can you differentiate? And if you do competitor analysis and see what's out there in your industry, then you can get creative and think, all right, let's do that, which is different. So that's the kind of art side of it. There's the science side and that's the art side.
It is solving problems ultimately. I think content marketing will always work because if I've got a really painful problem and all of a sudden there's an article that solves that, I've got to read it because like you said, I'm desensitized to all this crap now. Yeah, but that information in that article, that's more valuable to me, and even leaving my email address for an ebook, that's more valuable for me, like you said. Than actually like, I don't want to deal with advertising right now. You know what they're doing. You're going to be on a marketing list, etc. But
it keeps you relevant as well from a brand point of view. If you don't have content marketing, if you are just reliant completely on a website or an ad or even a social post, you know, it's all content at the end of the day, and it has to keep you relevant with different people.
Well, it goes into the authenticity piece. I say that to clients, like, you know, like who's the thought leader in your space? Who's the trusted authority in your? They're like, oh, no one. I was like, well, do you want to own that space? Because you can, right?
I actually think the best content marketing campaigns are when people look for that differentiation point. I use the example all the time when I'm talking to clients about digital content strategy around Land Rover with the Hibernot campaign, where they decided not to, you know, their whole brand mission is, you know, the adventure, the journey and all that kind of jazz, but rather than trying to talk around content just around journey and adventure, they decided to own a season because people like to stay indoors during the winter, and they saw that adventure doesn't necessarily lend itself to the winter, but they could possibly change that perception. And I thought that was really interesting because that's a brand piece, that's a search piece, and that's a content marketing piece. Yeah. And they tied it into then social. So there you go.
Oh, look at that.
And they owned an entire season. They owned the winter through adventure. And that was a really clever way of generating a relevancy and an authentic relevancy as well for them.
Yeah.
Without having to do a huge amount of legwork. That's why I find content marketing really, really interesting, is finding that differentiator.
And I think because of the saturation in the world of content, when you find something that's unique, it's even more refreshing to people because they're like, oh, okay, I'm getting bombarded with all these blog posts, they're all the same, there's nothing different. And then something that's different, and it can be different in a number of ways. It can be the tone of voice, it can be the brand. I think branding, even with design, is so important for a blog, for example, and it can be the format. You know, like I said, content through the letterbox or go for something that's more interactive. I think if anything, things are becoming more interactive. Maybe content will become like a that's an event basically, but different types of content will emerge from the saturation that's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the future.